All right, welcome back. The best training channel on YouTube. Took a few days off. Not necessarily off from the gym, just didn't film and upload any videos. Mainly because I didn't feel like there was much quality to be gained from anything I've done the last couple days. After Tuesday, which is when I did the AMRAP set on the back squats, Wednesday session, went to the gym. It lasted 25 minutes. I did a few sets of pull-ups. I did some back extensions and some lateral raises, and then I was out of the gym. Wasn't a whole lot of value that I thought would have been added to doing a video, so I didn't film anything. I didn't put it up. Yesterday, didn't do anything. The last couple of days has just been kind of recovering from that heavy day that we did on Tuesday and prepping for today's session, which is going to be the block accelerations. So we're going to focus again on the accelerations out of the blocks, 20-meter sets. Gonna do anywhere between 12 to 14 to 15 total repetitions on this. This is my kind of like high volume and heavy week. I wanna get a minimum of 12 done. If the quality and the intensity I feel starts to deteriorate, then I'm gonna cut it off at whatever point that is. But hopefully that doesn't happen before 12. So if I can rest pretty much maximally in between each of these reps, I think I'm gonna be good to go for today's work. All right, so the goal for the first two here, I'm not sure if I'm really gonna count these as reps. I'm just gonna do a couple like hard takeoffs, probably to about 10 meters, and see how it feels, just to see where everything's kind of at to start today. I've moved the blocks a little bit. So previously what I've been doing is 2 feet back. I'm adding a little bit more room on that front foot, and then I'm gonna keep that back foot 1 foot behind the front. I feel like I need some more space on that front leg. I don't know if my legs are too big, what it is, but I'm in that position. I just feel way too bunched up. So I'm hoping that bringing that front foot back a little bit puts me into a better position where I can feel like I can get a little bit more pop off that initial push. So my first kind of practice reps there, not too bad. I think as I get going, put some more intensity into this, it'll start to feel a lot better. The one thing I noticed from last week is I felt like a lot of my repetitions, I was kind of casting myself out too far. I didn't have enough urgency to kind of put that first step down. I was so focused on trying to push out of the blocks that I was kind of holding that extension point for a little too long before I decided to put that first foot down. So today, I'm gonna try to speed that up a little bit. I'm gonna try to get out the blocks, hit the positions properly, still remain patient and be able to push all the way through. But that absolute millisecond where I reach extension, I'm gonna think about putting that first foot back down into the ground. Try not to hang in that extension point for too long, which is what I felt I was doing last week. So my plan for it, like I said, 12 minimum reps, probably rest anywhere between 2.5 to 3.5 minutes on each of these reps, just to make sure I can get close to like enough recovery to where I can maintain that 95% range that I want to be at, and then just start knocking out reps and see what we can do. So I think it's been enough talking now, and we're just going to get after it. Six reps are done. I got 6 more minimum that I want to do. If I were to review, or if I were to give myself an overall grade for those first 6 reps, let's say like on a 1 to 10, I'm like at that 6.8 range. Not like, what I'm struggling with right now is projecting out of the blocks the right way and putting that first foot into the ground the correct way. So that projection angle out of the blocks is decent, but as I'm putting that first step down, I'm not really driving back and down. I'm kind of just projecting out and then letting that foot fall straight down to the ground versus coming back and trying to strike behind my hip. I think part of the reason is because I feel like I'm always gonna fall on my face out of the blocks. So that first step is like subconsciously going straight down so I don't get that feeling of wanting to fall forward. So I need to play around with something a little bit for the next few reps to see if I can't fix that. I think one thing I might do is I might just push off as hard as I can, try to make it feel like I'm going out of my three-point stance, because I feel like my three-point stance is really good. And if I fall on my face, I fall on my face. I really need to hammer off that first two, like that projection angle and that first step after the projection angle. I need to fix that. And that's what I'm going to focus on for the next few reps here. So we're going to knock this out, hopefully see some improvement as we go, and hopefully not fall on my face, even though I think falling on my face might be the best thing for me to do right now in order to get better at this. All right, so block starts today were trash. Out of all the repetitions I did, I feel like I got one good rep out of all of that. And it was a rep that I didn't even film with this camera. I filmed on my phone. So I'll see if I can't set this up to where you guys can see this rep kind of in a slow motion range. But it's the only rep that I feel had some acceptability in terms of the positions, the angles, the projection on that. 1 out of 12 sounds awful, but the bright side of that is I got one good, which means I can now figure out how to duplicate that one rep. So now it's gonna be more about going back, watching that video, remembering the setup, remember the cues I was trying to focus on, and see how many times next week can I duplicate that one rep. I did get very frustrated today because I felt like I wasn't being able to figure it out, but at least the last rep, everything kind of fell together. I got one good one in. We'll end on a good note for the accelerations today. Next up, hurdle hops, 5 sets of 5. We're gonna keep that pause in there. I got some questions last time I was doing these about why do I have a pause in there? More so just to focus on kind of the eccentric load on each of the jumps, and also to kind of minimize the amount of reactivity, because we're going to add in more reactive jumps later on as we progress through this strength phase. So we start off just working on exploding off the jump, controlling that landing, get used to that eccentric force in the landing. And then the progression on that would be to start to be more reactive off of that landing. So you don't necessarily want to just come in and start bouncing over hurdles. It's a lot of reactive forces. Focus on the eccentric a little bit, build up resilience, add a little bit of reactivity. You should see some progress in those.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna raise them up a little bit. We're gonna go to 84 on each of them. Old guy just walked by, asked me if I'm jumping. I said, yeah. They love it when I do this kind of stuff. The old people in here, they go by, they'll walk laps for hours every single morning. And anytime I do any kind of sled work or any sort of jumps, that's the stuff that they really like to see. Like when I'm just doing sprints and stuff, they just kind of like walk by. But when they see me doing jumps or doing some sprints with a sled, they think it's the coolest thing in the world. Soltijn?
Power.
Yeah. See what I mean? Yo. All right, real quick. I don't mean to laugh at this, but I had this med ball right here. That's a 4 kilo med ball on that red ball. It was right over here next to those cones. One of those old people right over there thought it was a soccer ball and just booted it right now. It fell down to the ground. He's okay. it was pretty hilarious because he wound up to kick that thing. Obviously, you can see how far it went. It went about 15 meters, but he thought it was a soccer ball. It's a 4-kilo med ball. I need to put that somewhere else so they don't hurt himself. Luckily, he's okay, so we can laugh about it. He's walking around the corner, wound up, and just put his toe into that med ball. I think he's wearing boots, this is why he's okay. But goddamn, that was funny. I wish I got that on camera. This is my third set. I'm kind of raising these up as we go today. First set I did was at the 76 mark. Rep number 2 was at the 84. Now we're at 91 centimeters on each of the hurdles. Probably gonna stay here. Might go up one more, but we'll see. I feel like this mic is gonna get in my way, so I'm gonna take it off real quick. All right, I need to spread these out and get some more space. I'm kind of landing way too close as we do this. So I'm gonna take a moment, put another foot in between each one of the hurdles, and we'll knock out 2 more sets on this. All right, last thing I'm gonna do today is the med ball tosses. I'm gonna measure out today to see where I'm at. So I've got the tape measure here. I'm gonna anchor it down with the med ball right at the end of this line, just to get a better visual. I decided to do it on this white line here. This white line should be about 17 meters. Yeah, so from the edge of the white line down there to here is 16 or 1650. So we're gonna measure out 21 and 20 meters and mark those with a cone. The red one is gonna be at 20 meters. So 20 meters is right here. The green one is gonna be at 21 meters right here. And I'm actually gonna kind of move this out because I'm gonna try to throw directly on that white line. So we got 20 meters on the red cone, 21 meters on the green cone, and we're gonna do probably 5 to 8 granny tosses. And then I'm also gonna do about 5 to 8 overhead backwards toss today. All right, cameras off to the side, should be safe. Remember, to the white line is about 16.5 meters. Red cone is 20, green cone is 21. Goal is to get above 20. I think 21-ish was about the furthest that I did last week. That was just shy of the 20 meter mark. And again, we got a 4-kilo med ball on these tosses. That was just about the exact same spot. So we're just shy of 20 meters right now. That's a good one. Ooh, much closer to 21 on that. Definitely over 20. Just shy of 21. Again, right between 20 and 21. Mark is about here. Call that just like slightly above 20.5 meters. Oh, just over 20. All right, we're gonna move to overhead backwards tosses now. I haven't done these in a long time, but should be relatively close, possibly a little bit further than the underhand forward. So overhead back, you get a little bit more time to kind of build because you're going from between the legs all the way up and over your head. The release point is going to be higher versus when you go underhand forward, you have less time to build up because you're releasing at a much lower point. So that longer action should allow to build up a little bit more speed on the ball, a little bit more power, possibly get this thing flying a little further. There we go, that's 21. I may only have time for a couple more because I think the women's soccer team is gonna start practicing, and they usually practice on this side of the field. So I'm gonna try to knock these out real quick. Another 21-ish. Ooh, easily 21 on that one. We're gonna end it there for the med ball throws. All right, overall, today's session was good. Frustrated throughout the session doing the blocks because I just felt like it was off today, but I did get one good rep in, which is good because now I have something that I can go back, look at, get some cues and pointers and look at why that rep was different versus the other reps, and then hopefully take those cues into the next session and be able to improve upon things and see more than just one good rep out of the course of 12 repetitions throughout the day. Hurdle hops, med ball tosses, everything on that felt really good. The reason specifically for like that variation on the hurdle hops and doing the med ball tosses is because the main focus for today is the acceleration. So working on the block starts, but also working on that 20-meter acceleration, trying to focus on like that first 5 meters and exploding out of the blocks and working real hard to get that force developed at a very high rate. Things like hurdle hops with a pause, med ball tosses work very similar in terms of like the adaptation that you're trying to train. So with the hurdle hops, because we're doing essentially one repetition at a time and we're not being reactive off the ground, you're working on exploding off the ground as quickly as possible. You land in a way where you're trying to handle the eccentric load on that. You hold that for a second and then you explode again. With the med ball, even though there's a bit of a counter movement because you're kind of loading into an eccentric and then exploding out of it, you're still essentially working very similarly to that initial explode out of the blocks or out of your 3-point stance to develop force at a very high rate. You're just using an external load, being a med ball, to try to explode through. And then you've got something that's a little bit measurable, like I was doing with the 20 and 21 meter mark, where I can kind of see where that ball is at. And I use the same weight ball that I did last week, and I'll do it again next week. And I'll probably continue on as we go and try to see on how that progresses. But those are also things that are great that pair with acceleration, which is what you want to do when you have a single session like this, is figure out what is the main focus of that session. So for me, it was the blocks, working on acceleration. And then if you're going to do anything extra with that, try to pair it closely to working similar or same adaptations that you were doing with whatever your main focus is. So working on those hurdle hops and the med balls fit really well today with the accelerations that I was doing. So overall, a great session. That's going to be the session for today. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And just a little update on the subscriber, the 5,000 mark. We're in the 500s now. Last I checked, we were like 580 subscribers away from hitting 5,000. Once we do hit 5,000 subscribers, I'm going to be releasing a free sprint program for you guys. And I'm excited to get that out to you. So we're very close to getting it. So if you're here for the first time, you like what you saw, subscribe to the channel, get a free program, helps everybody out. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.